Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So, welcome to the first episode of Songwriter Surgery. You are currently in the Dreamscape with me right now. I know you can't see all of my pretty colors and stuff on the screen, but I am super excited for you to be in this episode today. It's going to be really fun. We're going to walk through some of my past failed demos. As I have mentioned on my Instagram, if you saw that post this morning. But regardless, I cannot wait to get into this. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before I get into all of this stuff, I just wanted to talk a teeny tiny bit about what Songwriter Surgery is. So you can check out a bit more of a description on my website as well, which is right up top on the left, but you can also read more about it on that website. So, Songwriter Surgery is this educational YouTube series that I am starting. My name is Mary Sweet. I'm a professional singer-songwriter and producer. I have been working on all of this stuff for more than 12 years, but I have only been at the professional level for 3 years. It's been a lot of fun. My first ever release was Ransom on 99 Lives with Jade Key, and that saw more success than I ever could have imagined. It was incredible. So I took that and I ran with it, and I've just been working hard and honing my skills and everything since then. So I want to share all of that with you. And in this Songwriter Surgery series, I am going to teach you how to be a better songwriter. It's as simple as that. We're going to have a lot of fun doing it because we're going to go through my past failed demos. They are absolutely terrible, really, really bad. And so we're going to walk through why they failed, why they're bad, and I'm going to talk through how to make them better, how we can fix those, how they can really turn into a hit song, even though in their current state they really, really are not that great. And then we'll also walk through submissions that you send in to me. You can check the link in the description of this video, and you can also go to the Dreamscape headquarters, which is marysweetmusic.com. That's my website, and submit your own demo to Songwriter Surgery, and I will listen to your track, react to it live, and talk through how I would write a hit song to your track. So that can teach you kind of how to effectively think about songwriting to your own music, which is something that I would love for everyone to be able to do, and I am here to help, so I am super, super stoked to get into this. So, now that we've talked a little bit about what Songwriter Surgery is, let's get into this first demo. It's pretty terrible. So as I mentioned, these demos that we're going to talk about today are demos that I have submitted to producers in the past. These couple of demos are from 3 or 4 years ago, so it was a while ago, long before I was at this professional level of working. But every single musician has the ups and downs. These are definitely my downs. They're very, very bad. And so these are submissions that I've actually sent to producers trying to get a gig with them and work with them because I thought their tracks were really cool, and they were not selected, and you'll see why. They're terrible. So let me hop into my DAW and we can start going through this first demo. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to play through the entire demo for all of the part that I am singing on it. You can listen to it and cringe with me as we listen through this demo. And then once we've listened to the whole thing, I'm going to go into it bit by bit and take it apart and explain how it could be better and where it went wrong. So let's do it. Demo number 1. If Logic can, there we go. Let's turn this down. All right. We're having a lot of fun. Okay.
When we fall apart, we're just pieces of me, pieces of you. I knew from the start that together we'd become something new. through the darkness. When we look from the corners of our eyes, we can rise from the ashes. When we reach our hands up to the sky, we could be amazing. Love me like crazy. When we fell apart, we were pieces of me, pieces of you. But we don't need to fix this heart, 'cause together we're something new. 'Cause
Okay. So that is the full demo right there. I have a couple ad-libs that come in after that, but we're not going to play through all of those. We get the point. So this one might not sound that terrible just to begin with, but the songwriting is absolute garbage. It is not good in this demo whatsoever. And it all starts right in the beginning, right off the bat, pretty much. Let's refresh our memories with the beginning portion right here.
when we fall apart, we're just pieces of me, pieces of you. I knew from the start that together we'd become something new.
And then we have a build before we even get into the first verse. So this first section of the song, there should really not be vocals there at all. That little piece, those vocals there are actually kind of like an intro to the chorus, because we hear those vocals again in the chorus. But for some reason, I thought it would be cool to copy and paste the chorus into the beginning of this song to fill that space, and that is right where I went wrong. You do not need to fill every single space in this song. If I had gotten this project with the producer, and if I had actually submitted a better demo here, this ideally would have gone something more like this. I hear this empty space in the beginning of the demo that the producer wanted me to write just like an intro idea to. And I don't really know what to do with it, because it's clear that that should not be a first verse, because once we get further into the song after this little build, listen to this. So that part right there, that instrumental, ignoring the vocals, that is very clearly a spot where vocals should be. Because if you were listening to just the instrumental, you would expect to hear something else there. The instrumental is not enough in that spot right there to stand by itself. So that needs vocals on top of it, and it feels natural to hear vocals come in right there. So that's what we'd be doing. We know vocals need to be there. In the very beginning, vocals do not need to be there, and I shouldn't have sent vocals to begin with on this demo right in that introductory portion. That should have been more of a question on my side, where I say, hey, here's the demo, starting from the first verse. I'm not sure what you're envisioning for the introductory portion, so let me know what your thoughts are. Are you imagining vocals there? Did you want to just take some ad-libs from my demo and reverb them out and have kind of a cool vocal effect, but not an actual verse or intro happening? What are you envisioning for that spot? That is what I should have done. And I should have just started from the first verse in general, because that comes in at a really great spot, as we just identified from the instrumental. So let's listen through the first verse again, and we're going to talk piece by piece where this goes wrong and where it does a good job. So let's start right from the end of that little build, where we kind of pull the instrumental back and it gets quieter. And that little ad-lib right there, that's fine. That is a pretty good way to lead in, and the producer could then take that ad-lib and make it really reverbed, really distant, and kind of, they could even pan it hard right or hard left, or have an LFO going on it, and that could really give a helpful lead-in into the verse on top of the instrumental so that we know some female vocals are about to start. It's not necessary, but it's a fine thing to have in there. It's good to show the style of what I was going for this demo.
We can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes.
Okay. So listening to this very first part, we have the lyrics, we can see through the darkness when we look through the corners of our eyes. Okay. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I don't know what the hell I was going for with that, but it doesn't make any sense. We have no idea what we're talking about here. I really have doubts about being able to see through the darkness if I'm looking from the corners of my eyes. Like, can I see through the darkness? No, I really can't. So those are just bad lyrics in general. That sounds like I was rushing through that and trying to get it done as fast as possible. It's perfectly fine to send a demo that has incomplete lyrics, but in the situation where I was submitting this demo, I think it was a contest, and so the idea that I send needs to be a little more developed than that, instead of sending incomplete lyrics or lyrics that I thought were okay. Those were not okay. They're terrible. We can't see through the darkness if we're looking from the corners of our eyes. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's bad lyrics. It's not good. So those need to be different. But listening to the vocal melody, that sounds really good. It's nice and smooth, it's pretty, it fits the vibe of the instrumental as far as we know so far based on what we've listened to. So I'm pretty fine with that melody. It can always be better because melodies can usually always be better. Some hit songs have melodies that I wouldn't change for $1 million, but melodies they're a fickle thing. There can be a lot of really, really great melodies on a single song, and I think this one is acceptable for this demo. Mary Sweet Now would probably put a different melody on that, just so that it's a little more impactful. But if we go back and listen to just the melody right here.
We can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes. We can rise from the eye.
Okay, so that ad-lib that comes in and repeats from the corners of our eyes, that should not be there. That's really distracting. Right in that instance, that ad-lib comes in way too early. We don't want to have any ad-libs coming in the very beginning of the song. That will detract from the song. And that ad-lib absolutely detracts because A, it's too loud, B, it has words in it. It really should have just been kind of like a hum or an ooh or something that doesn't have any words, so that we're not distracting the listener the second we start this song. Not good. Bad choice. But listening to the vocal melody and having the harmonies come in, because I don't think I have any doubles on here at this point. This was long before I knew that was a good idea. Listening to those sound pretty good, and they add a little bit of an impact there. But they could be a lot better. And thank you very much, Donnie. Welcome to the live stream. I'm so excited to have you. We're just talking through these demos. It's a lot of fun through all of my past failed demos. Not all of them, but a couple of them. But listening to those backing vocals that come in, listening to those harmonies, they sound really pretty. Yes. But the problem with these harmonies is, what purpose are they serving? Because you need to think, when you're going through harmonies and ad-libs and you're choosing when to put these in, even though in a hit song it sounds like something that's just there to make it sound cooler, it's not just there to make it sound cooler. Harmonies, doubles, ad-libs, all of those, backing vocals, they take a specific new perspective on the delivery of the song, and they change how the listener understands it. So for example, if I had like a clone of myself sitting right here, and I was just saying a sentence and the clone only said certain words with me, like if I say the word important and the clone says the word important with me as well, but doesn't say any of the other words in the sentence, which word is going to stand out to you the most? It's going to be the word important because the clone said it with me. So when you're talking about backing vocals, harmonies, ad-libs, all of those things, backing vocals in particular that mirror the lead melody, those have a specific purpose that you use to draw the listener's ear to a part of the song. So whenever I put in backing vocals, I should be thinking about those in the sense that which part of the song, which part of the lyrics do I want the listener to really, really latch onto and think, oh, this is more important because that clone is right here, or 6 clones are right here saying the same thing. So let's listen to that again, just this first portion.
We can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes.
Okay, so again, we've got that distracting ad-lib, but what are we establishing? We're just establishing that the second half of this phrase is important. So the when we look from the corners of our eyes, which is also the portion of the phrase that makes literally no sense whatsoever. So bad move on my part from the lyrics, for sure, and not a smart move with the harmonies and the backing vocals, because what's important about this? We don't know. We do not know as the listener. So let's keep moving. Let's start from the beginning of this first verse again and listen through the next segment here.
We can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes. We can rise from the ashes when we reach our hands up to the sky.
Okay. Thinking about this second portion, we can rise from the ashes we can rise from the ashes when we reach our hands up to the sky. Okay. I'm not crazy about that, and the reason I'm not crazy about it is because it's super, super, super generic. It's really cliche. Rising from the ashes, cliche. Reaching hands up to the sky, cliche. No, if you want to stand out in music, it's not that you can't use cliches, it's that you need to be smart about it. And if you're going to use a cliche, especially one as tired as rising from the ashes or reaching hands up to the sky, it seems to me I was going for some kind of festival vibe there, because that's the kind of stuff you'll hear at Ultra all the time. Anytime an EDM producer gets up on the stage at Ultra anywhere in the world, you're going to hear something along the lines of like, reach your hands up to the sky, or we're rising from the ashes, or love is the thing that literally makes me want to live, or whatever else. Those are all really, really, really tired cliches. And one of the easiest ways to stand out with your songwriting, as long as you do a good job with the songwriting, is to skip the cliches. Or if you really want to use a cliche, don't say the cliche, say it in a brand new way that nobody has heard before. So instead of saying rising from the ashes, say something else that means you're rising from the ashes, but don't say rising from the ashes. That will definitely help. And we have a comment from Donnie, so making sure you place things with purpose in context of the song's topic, absolutely. When you are songwriting, all of the lyrics that you put down, you're telling a story. And the easiest way to think about that is whenever you're reading a book, and if you've gone to like any English class in existence, like I know growing up through middle school and high school, all that jazz, every single English class, the second you start reading a book, they're like, okay, let's talk about the plot line. We've got the plot line, literally, like, imagine it going across my face right now. So we have the intro, which is the portion where we're setting up all this background information. And then we have the rising action, and then we're going to have the climax happen right about here, and then we're going to have some falling action, and then the end of the book. So, you write a song exactly like that, almost all the time. That's the easiest way to start with your songwriting, and it's the easiest way to get into better songwriting, starting from zero, or even starting from being a songwriter who has like songs that are climbing the charts and whatnot. That's always a great way to think about how you're going to put a song together in the lyrics in order to tell an effective story. So in the beginning of the song, typically the way, let's take a step back. Typically the way that I start songwriting to any track is I start with the most important part of the song, and if we remember our plot line here, that's the climax. So we're going to start with the climax, and that's almost always the chorus. If it's not the chorus, you're listening to a very not mainstream song. We're talking about fairly mainstream hit making here because we're talking about this natural progression of a story. So the climax is usually has to do with the chorus, or the rising action at least usually has to do with the chorus. And so what we're going to do there is we know the chorus is the most important part of the song because it tells the thing that if in almost every single song, what you're going to remember once you've finished listening to a song is the chorus or a piece of the chorus. And think about that. Like, if I asked you to sing any song that's currently on the Billboard Top 100 right now, where would you start? Would you start with the first verse or would you start with the chorus? Because the chorus is easier to remember, you would probably start with the chorus. So that is what I almost always start writing when I'm doing my songwriting, because that chorus is where you establish the most important part of the song. It's where you're establishing the message that you want to leave the listener with. So if you want to leave the listener with a message of love conquers all, you're gonna say something like that in the chorus. The chorus is going to tell the listener love conquers all, and then you're going to have that final little hook phrase right before you go into the drop or right before you go into the next verse, and that's going to be the love conquers all type phrase, and then you're going to dive into the rest of the song. If it's a song with a drop, you'll have the drop. If it's a song that doesn't have a drop, you'll go into the next verse or the bridge or however you've arranged the track. So thinking about songwriting, we're starting with the most important part of the song, that chorus right there, because that's going to help you really hone exactly what that message is that you want to leave with your listener. Now, the chorus does not need to tell the whole story, and in fact, it should not tell the whole story. The chorus should just be the overall theme, overall message of your song, perhaps tying up a couple loose ends that you don't completely understand from the verse before it, but we'll get into that in a moment. What you want to do in the chorus is have that message, and then once you have gotten the chorus to a point where you're pretty satisfied with the lyrics, just the lyrics in general, because you can write the vocal melody completely separate from writing the lyrics. Once you've gotten the chorus down and you're happy with the chorus, then you start going into other parts of the song. So if you have a pre-chorus, you'd start writing the pre-chorus, because logically, if we're thinking about the progression of the song like it's a story, like it's a novel, we need to have the rising action before we get to the climax, which is our chorus. So the rising action, aka the pre-chorus, is going to tell us, it's going to lead into the chorus so that when we get to the chorus, we are ready for it. We know what's coming, kind of. It's still going to surprise us a little bit so that we can really learn more about the story when we get to that portion, because you want to learn more about the story in every piece of the song as you go through it. You don't want to be able to fully predict what's going to come in verse 2 or the bridge or in the outro. You don't want to be able to predict it, but it needs to feel right when you get there. So that pre-chorus, that first verse, those both need to prepare us to get to the chorus so that when we're at the chorus, we're like, yes, this is right. That is correct. I believe this. It makes sense. This is a great story. It feels right. It feels good. And we are fully entranced with this song. We're like, yes, It's a good song. That's really good. So let's go back into this first verse now that we've had this super long novel-style tangent with Mary Sweet, and listen to this again. And while we listen to this from the first verse, think about what the chorus should be telling us based on how the first verse sets it up. You ready? Let's do this.
We can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes. We can rise from the ashes when we reach our hands up to the sky.
Okay. So right there from the instrumental, we know the chorus is coming because we just had a big impact happen. We had a bit of a crash cymbal happen. We know something big is coming in the instrumental. So by now, we should have an idea of what kind of theme is coming in the chorus. Just listening to that first verse, think for a second, what do we expect? What will we believe if it comes to us in the chorus right at this point in the song? We've got the lyrics telling us we can rise from the ashes, we're gonna raise our hands up to the sky, we can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes, which we've already established makes no sense. But if we pretend it makes sense, that's something along the lines of we can do things that, like, we didn't think we could do, or we can accomplish things that seem impossible. Okay, so if we're going with that theme, we can accomplish things that seem impossible. Yes, it's absolutely build-up time, Donnie. That is completely right. With that impact happening right there and that crash happening, we know the build is coming. We know, because the instrumental told us so. The instrumental is telling us where this song is going. By the theme, by the vibe, it tells us. So as a songwriter, it's our job to mirror that energy and bring it to life with lyrics. The lyrics should be telling you what you can already feel from the instrumental, but the lyrics are spelling it out. From the instrumental, we can feel like, okay, we've got some of those high notes, we've got this impact, we've got crashes, we've got some really pretty, like, kind of almost arpeggiating synths, but not quite. Sounds like it might be a modified piano of some kind. And we've got this, like, balance between delicate, where we've got that piano-ish synth-ish, oh, that's a fun one, synthish sound. But we've also got the big crash, we've got the impact, we're gonna get into a little bit of a heavier element as we get into the build. So we've got that balance, which means we're going to have some kind of theme that makes you feel good, that makes you feel like you can do things, which is fun, and that's a great thing to write about. And I did get that with these lyrics. I got the whole accomplish things type deal, and you'll hear even more of an example of that in the build. But we're still kind of floundering, potentially drowning in the water of understanding by the time we get to the build, and that's not great. The first verse shouldn't tell me the whole story. I shouldn't know entirely what's going on and be like, okay, well, I can close this book now because I've listened to the first verse and there's literally nothing else I can learn from this song because it's already told me everything. No, no, no. The first verse is what grabs you and pulls you in and makes you be like, I can relate to that. Yeah, this is good. I get this. I get where this is going. Like, I can vibe with this. And then the build comes in, the chorus comes in, and you're like, yes, absolutely. This is it. This is it. I get this. I feel it. That's me. I see myself in this song. I believe it. I'm vibing with it. That's what's going on here. So this first verse misses the bar in terms of the lyrics in order to set us up for the build, because the build is about to be this super powerful part of the song where we're like, yes, it's almost euphoric basically with the way this build happens. It's gorgeous. I go into these soaring high notes and it's really exciting. But are we ready for it by the time it happens just from listening to the vocals and the lyrics? No. And that's not good at all. So, that is absolutely one of the things that makes this demo a fail. That first verse is not well done, needs a lot of help, needs a lot of rewriting, and we've discussed I need to avoid those cliches as much as possible because it's tired. It's not something where you're going to listen to it and it's going to feel new. It feels like you've already heard it in a million other songs, and unless there's something else going in the song, or unless the vocals are so incredibly wonderful that it just draws you to the song and it becomes instantly one of your favorite songs, those cliches are not helping, and they're not excusable either, because there's nothing else happening in this song that can kind of make you not care as much about the cliches. The cliches are not good, and you shouldn't be approaching a song like that either, because you want all of it to be surprising and exciting and sound great and be relatable and make people feel something when they listen to it. And with those cliches and lyrics that we don't understand, no, you will not accomplish that. End of story. That's no. Okay, I cannot make enough ugly faces at that first verse. It really needs to, like, it needs help. It needs help. Oh my god. Okay, so we've listened to the first verse. It's bad. X, F minus, terrible. I've created a new grading system specifically to rate this first verse because it is that bad. But the other demos we're going to listen to today are even worse. so get ready. But before we do that, we've got to listen to the rest of this song. So let's listen to the build, and we'll get to that. And thank you very much, Saint Orson. I appreciate that, and I hope that these other points are going to be helpful as well. So let's tell Logic to whip out its cane again so that it can continue hobbling through this with my CPU. We're going to listen to the build. Now, you know things about songwriting from this video. I want you to think about those things as we listen to this build right now. Think, do you understand where the story is going? How is this making you feel? How does the vocal melody make you feel? How do you relate to the lyrics that you hear in the build? Think about all of these things. Think about the story we're telling as we listen to it. So let's listen to it from right about halfway through this first verse so that we can hear that progression. You already know the instrumental tells us when the build is coming, so we're expecting a big build from this song, just how the instrumental set it up. Let's do it. I believe in you, Logic.
Rise from the ashes when we reach our hands up to the sky. We could be amazing. Love me like crazy. When we fell apart, we were pieces of me, pieces of you. But we don't need to fix this heart, 'cause together we're something new.
Okay, we already know that drop is going to be big. It's going to be big, but that's not what we're focusing on here. We're not here for the instrumental. It's a beautiful instrumental. It's really well done. I do not remember who this producer is, but they absolutely nailed this instrumental. It sounds great. But we are here for this build and this chorus. Now, I just assigned you homework to listen to this build with the mind of a pro songwriter, because you've already got some tools in your toolbox now to be able to do that. And as Donnie commented here, I never thought about the importance of lyrics like this before. Absolutely, that's what we're here to learn, because a lot of people don't really think about that. You don't really think when you listen to a hit song on the radio what the lyrics do for the song. If you took out all of the lyrics, or if you wrote really bad lyrics on top of it, or if you kind of made the lyrics harder to understand, what would that do to the hit song? It wouldn't be a hit song. I can tell you that right now. If you listen to The Weeknd, if you listen to Ariana Grande, if you listen to like Big Gigantic, Millennium, literally anybody who has ever climbed a chart before, they will not have bad lyrics. And if they do have bad lyrics, they have a lot of money and they probably paid for it themselves, and they shouldn't have. Because the lyrics need to be good, sweet cheeks. So, yeah, lyrics make the song. Unless the song doesn't have lyrics and it's an instrumental, and then obviously they don't. Ha ha ha, Captain Obvious. Thank you, Mary Sweet. But lyrics really drive how you relate to the song. They drive what you feel about the song. The lyrics take the vibe of the instrumental and they put it to words, because that's what we're doing. That is what a songwriter sits down and does. If you're starting with an instrumental as a songwriter and you're not starting from ground zero where I sit down with my notebook right here and I'm like, oh, we're writing some music. We have class notes on the back of there. But no, if we're starting with an instrumental, as a professional songwriter, you're going to take the vibe of that song from the instrumental, and you're going to say, what is this saying? If I could give this stellar synth a pen and paper, what would it write down? That's what I'm writing down. I am taking on the persona of the stellar synth, adding some Mary Sweet flair in there, and I am writing a goddamn good song. That is how it goes. So listening to this build, now that you've done your homework and you're sitting here thinking and having the gears turning about, did I do a good job of writing this build and chorus? Questionable. The vocal melody, stellar. Sounds really, really, really good. The vocal melody matches the vibe of the instrumental, because when we hit that impact and we hear that crash cymbal, we expect something huge to happen, and the vocals sound huge. We've got big harmonies happening, we've got doubles, we've got ad-libs, we've got the whole chimichanga, baby, and it sounds great. It is happening. But when we listen to the lyrics, ooh, yeah, let's go back into the song here and listen to the lyrics of the build. And I want you to think to yourself, where do the lyrics fall apart? Where do I lose the plot line of this story? Let's see.
When we reach our hands up to the sky, we could be amazing. Love me like crazy. When we fell apart.
Okay, I'm sorry. We could be amazing. Yes. Love me like crazy. Yes. Great. Those are really great, because the vibe of that right there, it's big, it's huge, like we just said. And we've got, we could be amazing. Love me like crazy. That is telling the story of, like, we could be the love story to end all love stories. That could be us. And you obviously have to do your part by loving me like crazy. There we go. That's fine. I don't typically write songs like this as Mary Sweet. I have the market cornered on really, really, really sad songs. I wouldn't say completely cornered. There are some people that are absolutely big-time competition, but I don't typically write stuff like this, and you can kind of tell because we say, we could be amazing, love me like crazy, and then when we fell apart. What? When? When did you fall apart? What are you talking about? We're talking about how we could be a great love story, and then we're like, oops, when we fell apart. I'm sorry, what? No, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. No sense. Because A, we're not expecting it, but we're also not expecting it in a good way. Like, this is bad because I'm introducing a twist in the chorus, which is something you can do, but we're not ready for the twist. It doesn't match the instrumental. It literally contradicts what I wrote in the first couple of lines of the chorus. And we're like, oh my God, I'm sorry I hit my microphone. I hope that didn't hurt your ears. I move my hands a lot. But no, we're like, I'm sorry. Now we need to, as quick as possible, understand the story again. Like, what exactly, St. Orson? We've got how did it fall apart? New story alarm. Like, what? Did we just copy and paste lyrics from another song? What happened? What happened here? Bad things happened here. Oh my God. Okay, back into this. Let's go back into this.
Love me like crazy. When we fell apart, we were pieces of me, pieces of you. But we don't need to fix this heart, 'cause together we're something new.
Ew. What? Ew. Okay. No. So when we fell apart, we were pieces of me, pieces of you. Okay. I guess. Sure. Because we're now understanding a brand new story that we need to figure out as fast as possible. Because we're right before the drop. We have so little time to understand this new story. And then I say something I say, but we don't. Okay, so when we fell apart, we were pieces of me, pieces of you. But we don't need to fix this heart because together we're something new. That makes no sense. It makes no sense. I mean, I guess you could stretch to make it sense. I'm bending over backwards in my head right now to make it make sense. But what? What does this have to do with all of the stuff that we obviously spent so much time putting together in the first verse and in the first part of the chorus? We come into the chorus with these great lyrics, this huge vocal melody. We're saying, we could be amazing, love me like crazy. And we're like, yes. And we're rising from the ashes and raising our hands up to the sky and literally every other positive cliche we could possibly think of because we're apparently really lazy when we wrote this demo. But then all of a sudden we fell apart. We weren't ready for that. We would have gotten some kind of hint from the first verse that tells us that there was a time that we had fallen apart and that is the focus of the song. Because again, we've got our pro songwriter cap on. The chorus is the most important part of the song. Say it with me. The chorus is the most important part of the song. What the hell was I doing? Bad things. Bad things. If I could go back in time, I'd be like looking over Mary Sweet's shoulder and being like, stop. What are you writing? You had a great start to this chorus. You continue on that. You do not switch up the story on our poor listener who is working overtime trying to get what you are writing about. Oh my goodness. No. We don't know anything about you falling apart. Chill on that, please. And we also... Oh my God, how many times am I going to hit my microphone today? I do not know. Let's back this up a teeny tiny bit. Okay. Move back, microphone. Thank you. My God, I have it too close to my face. Okay. And so the chorus, we're in the most important part of the song, and we get to the last couple of phrases of the chorus, which are going to be the most important part of the most important part of the song, because that's what we leave the listener with right when we dive into this super, super cool driving drop. And we say, but we don't need to fix this heart because together we're something new. Okay. That's a fine message, I guess. It's fine. Yeah, there's really not much else I can say about that. It's not great. It's really not great. It's like not good either. We don't need to fix this heart, which heart, that's, when we say this heart with those words in this sense, we should have heard something about a heart before in the song so we were ready for it, because nothing in the chorus should be a shock. Nothing. Verse, yeah, we can have shocks because the verse is setting up the whole song. If we've got a twist that shows up in the verse, we know that the song is probably going to be about the twist, because that's a big thing to do. You only have 3.5, 4 minutes in the standard run-of-the-mill song to tell the whole story. And the vocals don't even take up the whole song in most cases. So you have less time than that to tell the whole story, which means you need to use every single word effectively. You cannot have extra words in there, words that kind of don't make sense, but you were lazy so you didn't fix it. No. No, no. All of the words in the song that you write must have a purpose. Every single one. Because you're telling a whole novel or a whole chapter of a novel in these like maybe 30 lines. The whole thing. Think about that. That is not much time and not much space to write an entire song, an entire story, or an entire portion of a story even. Like if you're just writing about one chapter of your life, and yes, Donnie, that is the hard part. For God's sake, if you're just writing about, like, even if I'm just writing about my high school years, which I won't be writing about. Ransom covered the high school years just fine, and we're leaving it there for the most part. Ransom and Lie to Me, I think that was the other one that I wrote that was about my high school time. We're done with that. That's in the past. But even if you're just writing about a portion of your life or a portion of the singer's life, because the singer doesn't always have to be you. The person who's telling the story does not always have to be you, songwriter. It doesn't always have to be Mary Sweet telling about her life in the song she is writing. No, no, no. But even if you're only talking about a portion of your life, you don't have much time to tell the listener the whole story that you're trying to tell them. And yeah, that is the very much hard part of being a songwriter and trying to do a good job. That's hard because you need to know how to take every single word that you are using and make it matter. Make it make sense. Make it so that when somebody else, a complete stranger who doesn't even like your music, listens to the song and says, yeah, that makes sense, I believe it. Like even if I wrote a song in like my dance pop style that I typically do, which is the Mary Sweet brand, that's what I write, and I sent it to somebody who likes heavy metal, and I was like, ignore the entire instrumental, because I know you hate dance pop. This is a person who loves heavy metal and hates dance pop for the sake of this story. I'm like, ignore the whole instrumental, ignore the vocal melody and whatnot, yeah. Tell me if you believe the story. Tell me if you understand the story. They should be able to do that. It doesn't matter if they hate your music. They should be able to understand the song, understand the story, get where you're going, and vibe with it in terms of like, yeah, I can relate to that, or I can understand where it's going. Not everybody has to relate to it, but that's the goal. Because the more people who can relate with your music, usually through the songwriting, because it's kind of hard to relate with an instrumental unless you're going off of the vibe. There have been plenty of instrumentals that I have like played, you know, like going back to the high school years that we do not open the door on, where I would like play some song in the car and then stare out the window while it's raining and be like, oh, woe is me, my life, I'm so dramatic, it's like I'm in a movie. Oh yeah, I've done that like so many times. So many times. I am not ashamed of that. But people should be able to get your story. And introducing that twist in the chorus of this song, bad move. Very bad move. Because now we don't get what's going on. And going into the drop, which is where we have a break from telling the story in this particular instance, we have time to sit and really let the lyrics sink in. And what is sinking in for this demo? Confusion is what's sinking in. We're like, we've got the first verse that's got, like, we can see through the darkness when we look through the corners of our eyes, which makes absolutely no sense, so that's confusing. We've got the build, which is just needs help because we go into the twist that's introduced in the chorus / build because it's over the build. The chorus lyrics are over the build in this demo. We've got the chorus that introduces a twist where we're like, we could be amazing, love me like crazy, and we're like, yes, that sounds amazing, that's good, I get that, I vibe with that, yes. And then when we fell apart, we were pieces of me, pieces of you. When did the fall apart happen? So we're just confused going into this drop. Super confused. We don't get what the hell's going on. And that's very bad. Very bad. We do not want it to be like that. So we need to rewrite this demo entirely. There are bits and pieces that we could save, like the "we could be amazing, love me like crazy." I would delete literally everything else in these lyrics and start with that. So let's think through this. Let's listen to this instrumental again for just thinking about the instrumental. Ignore the lyrics. We know they are terrible. Ignore. We're thinking about the instrumental now. So thinking about the instrumental, what do you expect to learn about the story in different parts of the instrumental? In the beginning, it's kind of soft, kind of meditative. In the build, it's getting more dramatic and more anticipation is building. So if we're telling a story that has lyrics in it that say, "We could be amazing, love me like crazy," what general theme of the story, what general part of the story, not necessarily words, what general part of the story are you expecting to hear at different parts of this instrumental? So let's go back and listen to this instrumental just from the first verse. Ignore the lyrics. Listen to the song, to the instrumental, and think about this.
We can see through the darkness when we look from the corners of our eyes. We can rise from the ashes when we reach our hands up to the sky.
Okay, so we've listened to the first verse part. What part of the story are we expecting to hear? Listening to the instrumental, we've got this gorgeous, smooth, calm piano happening. And we know we're building up to lyrics that say, "We could be amazing, love me like crazy." So we're expecting the first verse, because if we're a first-time listener to this song, we don't know that the lyrics, "We could be amazing, love me like crazy," are coming. But since we, you and I, know that those lyrics are coming, what should be in that first verse? We could be amazing, love me like crazy. In the first verse, we've got that smooth, meditative, calm piano. We know we want to have something that's painting the picture of this love story or possible love story before we get to the build. Because if we get into the first verse and we're starting by painting this picture, like maybe it's a scene that's happening, like we're sitting somewhere and talking, or I've just met you in this place and I see you and our eyes lock and we're dancing around the cliche of love at first sight type of situation, or I just met you and something's different. Something along those lines will set us up to believe and relate to the first part of that chorus that says, "We could be amazing, love me like crazy." Because we know just from those words, we could be amazing. That means we're not currently amazing, but we have the possibility to be amazing. The possibility exists. So that should make sense with the first verse, i.e., we're not already amazing in the first verse. We can't be, because we get into the chorus and we say we could be amazing. If I start the first verse and I say, "We are so amazing, we're the best love story you've ever seen," and then "we could be amazing, love me like crazy," you're not going to believe that, because we're backtracking in the story when we get to the chorus if we've already started the first verse by saying we are amazing. So we can't be amazing in the first verse. Process of elimination, we've ruled that out. So we know it needs to be something building up to we could be amazing, love me like crazy. It obviously has the love theme. It obviously has the potential theme, the potential of this relationship. So that first verse, we should be saying something more along the lines of, like, we could be painting a scene like I mentioned. We could be talking about how maybe it was a rocky start, but now like we see a way to turn it around. All of that would work in the first verse to lead us into those first lines of the chorus and have them make sense with the story, because that chorus is over the build, so we're expecting a little bit of rising action and the climax to happen in the chorus because there's no pre-chorus here. So we're trying to accomplish that there. Donnie suggests maybe overcoming troubles or talking about what is going on. Absolutely. That is right in the right direction. We can have this, like, maybe we were troubled to begin with, like it wasn't great when we started, but we could be amazing, love me like crazy. But we need to have the turning point happen in that first verse. It cannot be the chorus that is the turning point. Just from the way this is set up, we need to have the first verse say something along the lines of, like I said, it could be painting the scene, or it could be, we started out kind of rough, but I have hope for us, or I see this glimmer that maybe we could turn it around, or maybe we just got off on the wrong foot and it's not like not all hope is lost kind of situation. And then we could be amazing, love me like crazy. Yes, makes sense. That is it. That works. And then for the rest of the chorus, let's go back and listen to that. Again, listen to the instrumental. Ignore the terrible lyrics that we know are coming.
The sky, we could be amazing. Love me like crazy. When we fell apart.
Okay. Did you catch that? Did you catch that in the instrumental? What did the instrumental just do? The instrumental just had a big crash happen right in the middle of the build. Part of the build, kind of, because the build is like really fast at the end of this portion, but the entire portion kind of feels like a build just from the energy of the instrumental. But we just had a big crash. So, let's go back.
Love me like crazy. When we fell apart.
That instrumental just told us that we are now listening to the most important part of the song. That is what's happening, because we already have this gorgeous chorus going on with the we could be amazing, love me like crazy. Yep, it feels like a turning point, just like St. Orson said in the comments. It feels like a turning point. And Mary Sweet picked up on that when she wrote this demo, so she wrote a turning point, but boy oh boy was it the wrong turning point. No, no, no. We've established that was a bad twist. But we are now rewriting these lyrics, hypothetically, because we're not actually rewriting them. We're imagining how we would rewrite them. So we know this is a turning point. We know that in the chorus we are now listening to the most important part of the song, which means these lyrics are what need to leave the listener with that final thought. So this is where we're really, really hitting home that vibe of we could be amazing, love me like crazy. So that's where we say something along the lines of like, if we're working hard, or we're already so close, or things like that, that fits with the vibe of the lyrics and the instrumental that we have already established, and it makes the story all the more powerful because we're about to go into this huge drop, and it's gonna sound amazing. And while we're listening to the drop, we're gonna be like, yes, this makes so much sense with the story. It really fits the vibe. It is great. But we need to nail that going into the drop. So these final lyrics need to hammer home the thought of we could be amazing, love me like crazy, based on what we've already built in the song for the lyrics. So that's what we're going to do with this demo. That's what we would do if we were rewriting this demo to fix it. So that is all we have for today. I'm planning on keeping these Songwriter Surgery episodes to about an hour, and we're right about an hour right now. I am very much looking forward to the rest of this series with you all. I am having a lot of fun listening to my really bad demos, and next week's bad demo is even worse. Even worse. And the next Songwriter Surgery episode is going to be June 5th. It will not be next weekend. Next weekend is Memorial Weekend here in the U.S., and my fiance and I are going to go back to visit his family, so that's kind of exciting. We're finally vaccinated from COVID, which, by the way, go get your COVID vaccine. Like, you know these things. Donnie, I'm super excited to have you. Thank you for making the pun, whether or not you intended the pun, because my last name is Sweet. But yes, next episode for Songwriter Surgery will be June 5th. That is a Saturday. And I'm going to have it here on YouTube again. I'm going to try to get an Instagram live stream set up as well, but we'll see. I'm really enjoying reading all of your comments. I'm having a lot of fun with this. Other little PSA is don't forget Alibi, my original, is coming out on May 28th, which is in 5 days. If I remember correctly, it'll be out on Friday. I am so excited. I think you're really going to like Alibi. It was a lot of fun to write. I've been dropping little bits and pieces of what it's about on my Instagram and like why I wrote it. It deals with my past when I was in my early 20s, and I had my wild and crazy dating phase, as I like to call it, where I went on a bunch of dates and met a lot of people, and I thought I was having a ton of fun, and I kind of was, but I was also really lonely, and I didn't realize that until years later when I actually wrote Alibi, which is now. So I hope that you like it when it comes out. Don't forget that you can pre-save at the link in my bio or right here, marysweetmusic.com. I've got all of the stuff there. That's the Dreamscape headquarters, so you can access Songwriter Surgery stuff. You can submit your demos to Songwriter Surgery, and I will talk through them just like I did today, talking about how to write a song, how to write lyrics, how to write a vocal melody to your demo, which is really fun and exciting. So the link to submit that is in the description of this video, and it's also on my website at marysweetmusic.com. You can keep up with me on Instagram. I am pretty active there, Mary Sweet Music on IG, which is, let's see, that's right there. There. I gotta like get my little, my finger pointing down so that I can nail where things are immediately. And of course, don't forget to subscribe here on YouTube and turn on that little notification bell so that you can always know when a new episode is coming and you will never miss a single one, because it's going to be a lot of fun, and we are going to listen to so many of my bad, terrible, failed demos. Oh boy, I cringe just thinking about them, because they only get worse from here, my loves. So thank you so much for joining me today in this first episode of Songwriter Surgery. I cannot wait to see you in the next one, and have an amazing rest of your day. Go write a super cool song. Tell me what you think of it. Tell me what you want to learn in the next episode, and comment on this video. All that jazz. Just go have a great day. Thank you for joining. I love you all so much. Bye.